met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes. The devil's eyes.
Say something.
Horror very much is one of my favorite film genres of all time. This YouTube channel actually used to be called Evil Dead 2 Fan, and I would speak a lot about my favorite horror films, Evil Dead 2 being chief among them, of course. But out of all of the modern horror films and classic horror films that I grew up watching, the one that has stuck out the most and has stayed the most with me and has fed my love of the genre more and more every time I watch one of the films in the series is Halloween. Something about Michael Myers as a character is so fascinating. I think when you get down to the roots of his character, the original way that he was portrayed and the way that he's portrayed now in the new series by David Gordon Green, he is simply pure, unfiltered evil in the form of a human being, an adult human man. And that, especially for the time of 1978, was very terrifying. And in this series, depending on which one in the entire, pantheon of this franchise is your favorite, there's always something new to Michael's story that we can all enjoy. Now, personally, me, myself, and I don't care too much for the whole cult angle of 5 and 6, but I know a lot of people who do. There is something for everybody in the Halloween franchise. Like how Halloween 3 has absolutely nothing to do with Michael Myers, but the idea of a dark magic worshipping cult cursing masks to kill children on Halloween so as to appease their deity is still really friggin' cool. Welcome to episode 3, everyone, of What It Means to Me, and today's episode on the Halloween franchise. Now, I don't think it should be surprising to anyone that the first of the 2 masks over in this corner we're going to talk about is the Halloween 1 mask. It's the one that started it all. Oh, by the way, the first 4 masks that we're going to take a look at are all from Trick or Treat Studios. Personally, I think that Trick or Treat Studios has some of the best masks on the market, especially for modification. So anyway, the Halloween 1 mask. There's not much to say about it. Again, it's the one that kicked off the series, and it's the one that is the best looking no matter what light it's under. The natural shading that Tommy Lee Wallace had when he painted it that fish belly white is phenomenal. It can go from being the simplest looking mask to the most menacing looking mask depending on the lighting that it's under. And it's why it's been one of my biggest grails for the longest time. And when I finally was able to get my hands on one in 2019? 2021, I think? I was so happy to finally have it. The 78 mask is the 78 mask, and it's one of my favorite Myers to cosplay as. So the next mask might be a little bit of a controversial pick, and this might be a little bit of a controversial opinion for some people in the Halloween community, but I think that Halloween H2O, the Stan Winston mask, is the best mask that the series has had since Halloween 2. And I know that's probably going to make a lot of people mad. I know a lot of people don't like this mask because of the weird eye contact that Michael makes with everybody because of how tight it is. I know that some people don't care for the lion's mane haircut and whatnot. Personally, I think that this mask does an amazing job capturing the feeling of the 78 Shatner mask. It just has everything in my mind's eye that checks off the boxes of what a Myers mask should look like. Yeah, the eyebrows are painted, and yes, the lion's mane haircut is kind of weird, but it's a lot better than the modified H6 that they started shooting with, a whole lot better than the weird alien mask from K&B Studios, and then of course, you know, leagues above the CGI mask. It's a nice middle ground that has elements from every other mask in the series. Like the H2O mask kind of has almost the same color gradient as like the H5, and let me tell you, H5 to H6, those in my opinion are the worst looking masks in the series. I know a lot of people love those masks, and if you do, more power to you. But I love the H2O mask, and I love H2O as a film. I think is a wonderful celebration of the last 20 years of Michael Myers. So, yeah. And I just like the fact that they're underneath one another. That was kind of the point, was you had the original mask, and then you had the original anniversary mask, for lack of a better term. And I think they just look pretty wonderful side by side. Justin really nailed the H2O mask, and in wearing it, it's very tight. So it accomplishes the far too much eye contact that Michael has with everybody. But it's such a great looking mask, and even on display, it looks just killer. No pun intended. So the next two masks that I'm going to talk about, one of which is only going to be shown in pictures, because it is buried deep into my closet, and I do not feel like digging it out. But it is one of the first masks I got when I wanted to rebuild, or not even rebuild, but actually start to build my Myers collection. For the longest time, the only Michael Myers mask I had growing up was the basic Ruby's mask. I think all of us remember that thing. I think it was also done in part through Don Post Studios, but you know it. This thing, whatever it is. But I had that for the longest time, and I was smitten with it. It was like one of my favorite things in the whole entire world. But like most things that you have when you're a kid, you don't take care of it, and it deteriorated and fell apart, and I had to throw it out. So in 2017, I went on eBay and scoured everywhere for a really great 78 mask, and I came across this one seller who's making these slightly modified H1 masks for 30 bucks. Picked it up, and I've had it in a lot of videos. You've seen it in plenty of videos. It's not the most accurate thing in the world. It's very big, kind of ugly. The hair's something else, but it was the greatest gateway for me to get back into the mask collecting hobby. And I collect a lot of masks. But having another Myers mask again made me want to collect more. So I was very happy to have that, but I'm very happy to have also upgraded to better masks. And yeah, but its contributions to my collection and to the short films that I made will not be forgotten. I actually used it in perhaps what is my favorite short film I've ever made, which was Hyde, and I think it looks its absolute best there. So yeah. The second mask of the 5 that we're talking about is this. So for those of you who don't remember or are too young to know, this is the Fun World official replica of the Rob Zombie's Halloween Michael Myers mask. This was one of 2 masks they made. There was the rotted version, and then there was the clean version, and the clean version is just a joke. But this one is not half bad, and I remember thinking that Rob Zombie's Halloween, I saw it in middle school when it came out in 2007, so that dates me. But I remember seeing it and thinking, wow, this is the greatest movie since the original Halloween. Oh, young tastes. Anyway, I always wanted the rotted Myers zombie mask because I thought it was really cool. I still think it's a very interesting mask, though I will say the 2018 and Halloween Kills mask does this concept way better. and we'll talk about that with those masks. But yeah, I always wanted one of these when I was in middle school, and I never got to pick one up because they were always too expensive, and it bummed me out to no end. And so in late 2019, I went to a discount costume store shortly after Halloween just to see what they had. And I see this guy sitting on a shelf. I start laughing and I wax nostalgic. And then I think, I'm curious. So I take it over to the cash register and I ask, hey, how much are you wanting for this guy? And he was $15 marked down from 30. And I remember saying to myself, this is one of the most inaccurate replicas ever made. The movie is not my favorite as it was when I was in middle school, but there was so much nostalgia attached to this that I just said, screw it. And I picked it up, and having it now, it wasn't a bad purchase. It wasn't the best purchase, but it wasn't a bad purchase. So I'm actually really happy to have this. And like I said, there's a lot of nostalgia attached to it. Can I put my head in this thing? Absolutely not. This is one of the tiniest masks I have ever bought. Tinier than the Halloween H2O mask, and that thing is tight. I almost ripped the back trying to put this thing on. So he is a display mask only, and I need to get an actual foam head for him. He had one, but I needed to use it for a different mask. So he's just got some basic paper stuffing. Boy howdy, as a video creator, don't you just love realizing that you decided to start a project way too late in the day and now there's not enough light to light this section of your set? I sure as heck do. So, apologies for the sudden light change, but this corner tends to get very dark in the afternoon and I want you to try and see these guys as best as possible. So, yeah. Here we are at the final two masks in my Myers collection. I've even got a few of my Myers figures over here, the NECA H2 and NECA 2018. And here are the last two masks, as I said, Halloween's 2018 and Kills. And all my Myers items. So these two are my absolute favorite masks in my collection, and they're seconded only to the H1. But these two masks are just chef's kiss design levels, in my opinion, especially with the Halloween Kills mask. I loved 2018 when I first saw it, like when I got a real good view of it, because the original teaser images that we were given of Michael, I saw the whole rotted, deteriorating masks, and I thought, ooh, that's a little too close to Rob Zombie territory. I was a bit hesitant, but then they started to release more photos of James Jude Courtney in costume, and then we got the first trailer, and I remember it was the shot of him at the gas station, having closed the trunk of the podcaster's car that he just killed, getting his mask back. And I remember seeing that profile shot, and I just said, that is a freaking Michael Myers mask. My God. So I scoured everywhere for this thing, and it wasn't until oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I just realized that I got this mask and the Rob Zombie mask literally at the same time in 2019. I got him a week, like 2 weeks before Halloween, and then I got the zombie mask a week after. That's insane. But yeah, I could not find him anywhere during 2018, just all the stores were wiped out. I was really bummed about it, but when I found him at a local Spirit, there was this guy and one other, and he was the best looking paint job of the bunch. I still think he's the best looking paint job. But I love the look of the 2018 mask. It is still very much the Shatner, but old and withered, and like it's carrying the scars of all 40 years of the Halloween franchise. It is just so dang cool. And One of my other favorite aspects of the Myers mask, I don't know why, but it's the knitting needle hole on the neck, and I love that it's just so accentuated on the 2018 mask. Unfortunately, because these are taken from the film molds, yes, Trick or Treat Studios Halloween 2018 masks are taken from the film molds, both the A Hero and B Hero film molds. And there's differences of how you can tell. There's a lot of great videos, I recommend watching them, but so these are taken from the film molds, and because of that, these masks are fitted for James Jude Courtney's head, and he has a smaller head, so when I try to put this on, it's Halloween H2O type. And so that's the only thing that makes me sad, because I love the look of the 2018 mask so much, but even having it on display, it's just so great and looks fantastic. And then there's Halloween Kills. I know this is a little bit of a hot topic for Halloween fans because it's so divided. There are people who loved the film, and then there are people who just straight up hated the movie. I am one of those people who loved every second of it. I was in Wisconsin visiting family, and I went to this tiny little theater in Viroqua all by myself. It was me and two other people, and I was just so engulfed in the story because I was just allowed to be by myself and take it in, and it was just one of the best experiences. And for me, the absolute greatest part of Halloween Kills is the mask. Michael's mask is just the most menacing it has ever looked. I love the partially burned section. I love the bloody cheek with the tear from the bullet hole. Everything about the 2018 mask that made it great is accentuated and made better in the Kills mask. And I love it. I love it so much that I was Michael for Halloween last year. And this, I still cannot believe that I was actually able to get this the first week a spirit store opened in my area. I remember going in, turning corner, seeing like a handful of them. I grabbed this guy because he was the best looking one, and I thought, okay, I'm done, I can go. And I turn another corner, and then there's just a wall of Kills masks. And I looked through every single one, and this still was the best looking mask. It has just such great transition from the white grayish green to the burn section. The yellow isn't as gaudy on this as, like, say, the Party City masks, because the Party City masks and the Spirits, the Halloween masks are completely different. But I love the look of this thing. It's just so menacing, it's so creepy, and the fact that Michael got even more terrifying and menacing in Halloween Kills, and the most brutal he's ever been in the series, just makes me love this mask even more. I thought it was a great film. And I've got all the stabbies, as I said again, and I even have the exact same model kitchen knife from Halloween Kills. That's how much I loved this movie. But I also found this at my local Target on sale, so it was hard not to pass that up. And also, I think that Trick or Treat Studios did a really great job replicating this sucker. So yeah. And so that, my dear viewer, brings us to the end of another episode of What It Means to Me. I know this one might seem kind of rushed, but it's just because I've been so excited to actually get to talk about this that really getting in deep and actually filming this has been a very exciting process. Halloween really is one of my favorite horror films of all time. Michael Myers as a character and his eternal battle with Laurie Strode, the always amazing Jamie Lee Curtis, has just, it struck a chord with me when I was a kid. And seeing this new series by David Gordon Green, I know, like I said, it's kind of a hot topic because there are people who really love this new series and then there are people who really hate this series. I'm one of those people who, I went into 2018, loved every second of it, loved the references, loved the homages, and I'm really excited for Halloween Ends I cannot wait to see how they finish off the series. And one of the most important things is, no matter how you feel about the new films, the greatest thing about these movies is that we will always have the older films. So if you prefer the Jamie Lloyd series, so Halloween's 4 through 6, you still have those. If you prefer the secondary timeline of Halloween's 1, H2, H2O, Resurrection, you have those. And then if you like this new timeline of Halloween 1 to Halloween Ends, you got that. And then if you're a Rob Zombie fan, you got that. Everyone has a version of Myers that they can enjoy. And that is something that I really, really, really love about this series. It's kind of like Jason, and why a lot of people love Jason. There's a version of Jason for everybody. Freddy is Freddy, no matter what. There has always been a different actor behind the mask of Myers, with only a handful of returns, like George P. Wilbur, Tyler Mane, Nick Castle, and James Jude Courtney, who, in my opinion, is the best Myers. But that's just what I love, is that you can have these conversations with people. You can be like, okay, well, I understand why you like that, but let me tell you why I love Halloween 6 and why I think the cult angle is not as bad as a lot of people say it is. It's just one of the great things about horror, is it's such a huge community of, frankly, wonderful people. I have gotten to know a lot of horror movie fans in the many years that I've been in the horror community, and 9 times out of 10, they're just really wonderful people to be around. And it just makes me love these films and the people who make them even more, because they're fans just like myself. Thank you again so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I hope this was a good video. I'm sorry it's been so long for me to make this. Just been one scheduling issue after another, but here we are, finally, episode 3, what it means to me. Halloween, done, dusted, in the can. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody. There's a lot of people who are going to see this whole collection of serial killer movie memorabilia and just think that I am one step away from becoming a mass murdering psycho myself. I promise you, I'm not insane.